I mean, it's groundbreaking. It's controversial. It's exactly what society needs. Had it on my mind, I was compelled to talk about it. Hit a couple people up, had to get their thoughts about it. You ain't gotta hold back, you can say exactly what you feel about it. Shit, this is socially awkward, provoking your cognitive thoughts to target emotions unless they regard or however acknowledge it. So hard to stay out your feelings, depending on what's the topic. We talking about sports, from pros to college, finances, relationships, newest technology, religion, politics, music, astrology. Let's get it poppin', it's socially awkward.
Welcome to the D Watts podcast. I'm your host D Watts, and I'm super excited to be here with you again. But I'm really somber about kind of what I want to go over. I think before I start, I want to take a brief moment of silence for Nipsey Hussle. I don't really think the moment of silence is for the entertainer, but for more of the man behind the entertainment. But let's take a moment. I think Nipsey Hussle was a stellar entertainer. I think he wrote beats unlike most West Coast artists to me. Not saying other West Coast artists don't, but he just did it in a way that was kind of heads and shoulders above everybody else, in my opinion. I also thought that Nipsey was a artist that could pretty much be featured on every track. I mean, he was versatile, well-rounded. He had vivid videos. I mean, basically short movies, I felt like, and he just did great work. But more so than the music, I know a lot of people would probably try to tarnish all the positive things that I'm gonna say, speaking on him being a member of the gang Crips. But I'm not from that environment, so I'm not quite sure how it works. But my understanding on gang culture, as limited as it is that it's usually a situation that a young child would make around the ages of 10, 11, 12 about a decision that really affects the rest of your life. And I think it's hard to judge a person based off a decision that they made when they were 10, 11, or 12. And sometimes, in some cases, probably even younger. I think that even with that, we seen in the past people rise above that or become incredible businessmen like he were, or philanthropists, and just giving back to the community. I mean, some of the stories alone that revolve around Nip are him hustling in a community and going back and buying that block to participate and continue to sell his products, which happen to become legal, is such a prolific story. And over the last couple of days after the killing or assassination, I hear a lot of people saying that it was assassination, and I don't know quite what fits the criteria of what is a murder or assassination. So I'm just for purposes, I'm just gonna say murder. Murdering him in front of his own store, and on the block that he supplies jobs and provided businesses and give back to the community. I thought was a statement in itself. And I saw some of the videos, and like different angles are coming out as they say who did it, and People are showing pictures of the person who did it and photos with him. I mean, a lot of people are sharing like a quote or a meme on social media saying it's never the person that's far away from you that is a snake, or all these other things that they calling them. And I think that anybody is always one no away from turning on you. One no. You could feed a person every day of their life, and the first time you tell them no, they could potentially murder you. And I know this is an extreme case to say, but I honestly believe that I try to take away something from everything that I see, and I just feel like, especially in rap, the brightest stars always get taken away. And usually you can put a finger on it saying environment, culture, um, senseless violence. And I think in this case, it is a combination of a lot of things. I support I I support positivity in all forms. And I just really feel like in this case we really lost the gem. I know that he he was building himself to be a real estate mogul. He was building himself to be so many things, and he talked about making his friends millionaires, and I just think that's positive. His music was motivation music, and you don't it was feel good music, and I just don't think that's something that you get a lot. And the fact that that's who gets taken away, it's almost like it bothers me. Like when you have a person in any community of any race of anything doing something positive, and you take them away for nonsense. I I I just it's terrible. It's reckless. It's almost like you're doing the job of the enemy, and it's not my place to say who the enemy is, but whoever is against the advancement of any group of people is an enemy to positivity. They're an enemy to progression. They're an enemy to any form of success, and it's counterproductive to the advancement of all people. All people. It's counterproductive to the advancement of all people. I think people lose track. I saw people posting things about gun reform. California has some of the strictest gun. Actually, I would say California has the strictest gun laws in the United States. And a gun law won't stop a criminal for possessing, using a weapon in any form. But be, before I stray too far away, I most definitely want to say, and my words may not reach her ears, but to Lauren London, I'm definitely sorry for your loss. I believe he was a father, so that's that's another issue, that a child has to go without their father, a positive, progressive father. Another mother has to raise a child in a single parent home or some form of home without the biological father there. And I just think that it could have been prevented. I think that we as people have to put more of a value on life. I'm not the person that says any particular group of people should be valued more than any other. But what I will say is, on my platform with my voice, I'll start here with me and with my family, and try to instill every sense of value that should be in us or perceived in us by others, that we value our lives, that we understand that we have a mission, that we know our mission statement for our life, and that's shown when we travel out in the world. You don't have to be a world class entertainer who travels the world and make thousands of people sing and dance at one time. You never know what's in the cards for you. You could become one of the world's foremost engineers. You could be anything. You could simply be the person who does CPR, being in the right place at the right time, on the person who goes forward and creates to cure AIDS or any other thing. And speaking on curing AIDS, Nipsey was doing a documentary on a doctor, CB, who was down in Honduras, I believe, who did a lot of natural medicine type of things. It's very interesting. In the documentary that he was doing, people felt like the government didn't want it to be published. And I think that's turning into, far be it from me to call it a conspiracy theory, because I don't know the intricate plots of this government or any other government, or what levels that they go to do or cover or counteract any type of things. But I do believe wholeheartedly that Nipsey was on to something. I had saw before that Lisa Lopez had went down and got with Dr. CB and followed. And I may be pronouncing his name wrong. If I am, I don't mean it in any form of disrespectful way. I just do not know the proper pronunciation of it. And I think that brought a lot of light on it. And then Nipsey was doing the documentary, and I hear a lot of people say that could be part of the plot to murder him. I'm not sure, and I don't want to speculate, but I do in this content, I want to say that my condolences go out, and everyone who supports me on behalf of the D-Watts podcast, condolences go out to the family members, loved ones, and relatives of the late, great Nipsey Hussle. May you rest on, and may your family be in well wishes. Salute.